Hello students, we'll go for the next studies called as taxonomical tools or taxonomical aids. Now we know that all the plants and animals cannot be studied in a single headings, so we classify them into different species or different groups. Now plants and animals are made easy to study, that is being preserved, that is being processed in the presence of tools. Taxonomical tools are for taxonomical aids, for the research studies or for extra information or for the references, we go for taxonomical tools. And thus we are going to study one after the other. The first we called as herbarium. So, herbarium is nothing but it is the storehouse of plants. Storehouse of plant specimens here called as herbarium. So here we know that plants are collected. Plants are collected and it is being stored. How we are going to process this? We are going to study. So herbarium is nothing but storehouse of plants. It is the storehouse of plants. We are going to collect this. The techniques involved in the storing of the plants is, very first one is collection. So we are going to collect the plants. We are going to take a plant twig. Plant twig is taken, which is required to be preserved. That type of plant twig is taken and it is selected. So here collection. So we are not going to take a very woody twigs. Light, delicate twigs are being taken for the preparation of herbarium. So the first one is collection. The second one is called as drying. So here we are going to dry this. So before drying, we go for, I use the word, second one is called as pressing, and the third one we go for drying. Why? Because once it is been dried, it cannot be pressed. So we are going to take a leafy twig, it is spread all over and without any sort of foldings, we press this and then we are going for drying. So after drying, we are going to take this plant twig and it is being sticked on. It is being sticked on to the herbarium sheet or it is being pasted. Sticked on or pasted on the herbarium sheet or herbarium sheet paper. So here once it is being sticked on, pasted and then it is being deposited or it is being placed. Deposition. So here the storing of herbarium papers will come and that is called as depositions. I am going to repeat this. So here very first one is we are going to collect a leafy twig. The second one is nothing but we are going to spread the leafy twig and it is being pressed. That is called as pressing. Our next technique we are going for drying. So when you are going to dry here, we are going to keep the spreaded plant twig in the newspapers. So once it is being kept in the newspapers, so that the newspaper will absorb the moisture and daily it should be keep on changing. Because once we keep under the newspaper and leave it up as it is, it starts getting decayed or white powdery like structures appears on it and starts decaying on it. So we are going to daily change the newspapers and in a fresh newspaper we are going to keep the plant twig. And after that, once the material is ready, once the material is dried up, then we take a herbarium sheet and herbarium sheet we are going to mount it or we are going to stick on it or we are going to paste on it. After pasting on this, we are going to deposit this. Before this techniques, I am going to explain about the sheet of paper. So we will take a herbarium sheet. So this herbarium sheet, it is nothing but a sheet of paper which has the diameter of 29 centimeters to 29 centimeters to 43 centimeters. So here 23 centimeters and 40. So here the paper is 29. The paper is 29 centimeters to 43 centimeters. This is a paper sheet. So once we take a sheet of paper, here we are going to take a plant, and this plant twig is pressed, dried, and it should be mounted. So once we take a twig here, so if it is flowering, that is even better. So to take this, it can be tied with a thread, or it can be pasted with a gum, or it can be using the insulation tape, we can mount it up. And very important one is labeling should be done. So on a paper, towards the right hand corner, right hand corner, we are going to write the details. So details of the plant is always written on the right hand corner of the sheet. So this right hand corner of the sheet has, very first one is name of the collector. So a person who is going to collect this twig, leafy twig, they are going to write, very first one is name of the collector. The next one is they are going to name place of collection. Place of collection. So where, in which place or which local area we are going to collect that, we are going to write. The next one is place, date of collection. We are going to write the date of collection. After writing these three words, then we are going for the plant details. We are going to write the plant details. As I said, the categories, kingdom, division, phylum, or class, order, like this, we write all the details till. So here we are going to write the kingdom of the plant, kingdom of the plant, phylum of the plant, and we are going to write the class, order, family, and we are writing the genus and species. Genus and species. Along with that, we can write the local names. Local language names also can be written here one after the other. So like this, right hand corner, we are going to write the detailed information of the plant. Like this, an herbarium sheet or herbarium is nothing but the storehouse of plants where we are going to collect the plant specimens, and this is required for the research or for the references for the next studies. So here we are going to safely deposit this in a particular place without any decaying. So we'll start with herbariums present in different areas. First one is Royal Botanical Garden Herbarium. This is present in Kew, Britain, and this is nothing but the largest herbarium present in the world. So this herbarium or this Royal Botanical Garden has 7 to 9.5 million species of herbariums have been collected and stored in the Royal Botanical Garden. Now we go for the second one called as Acharya Jagadish Chandra Bose Indian Botanical Garden. This is present in Sipur, Howrah, near Kolkata. It is the largest herbarium present in India. Next, British Museum of Natural History. The next one is US National Herbarium, Washington, USA. Next, the Central National Herbarium, Howrah, India. Museum of Natural History, Paris. Museum of Natural History, Paris. Next, Botanical Survey of India, Dehradun, and it is also present in Coimbatore, and it is also present in Pune. So this is nothing but some of the herbariums present in various places. We will go for the next one. So we will start with the next study called as garden. So botanical gardens is nothing but it is a place where we are going to store or study the living plants. So living plants are being studied here. Living plants, living trees, living plants are being studied here. So that place where we are growing, where we are preserving the plants for the research work or for the taxonomical studies, we go for botanical garden. So here in the herbarium, I was mentioned about dried or dead plants was preserved on a paper. But here it's not like that. Botanical gardens are nothing but a place where the living plants are grown, or that place is protected without any disturbance. And here these plants or the varieties of trees are being grown there, protected for the study of research works or for taxonomical studies it is used. Now, in a botanical garden, we know that various varieties of trees are being grown on each plant or each tree. What is the botanical classifications, botanical detail, scientific details of the plants are mentioned on a tree. For example, this is a tree trunk. On a tree trunk, there is a presence of a labeled iron sheet is being placed where the complete details of the tree is being given. So it may be again it may be the botanical name, common name, family, genus, all the details from where this plant was brought and grown. So all the details are being tagged to the trees, and the trees or the plants are also being numbered here 1, 2, 3 like that, so that we can know how many plants or how many trees are present in each botanical gardens are being present. Now we'll go for various types of botanical gardens present in different areas. The first one is Royal Botanical Garden. Royal Botanical Garden, Kiwi, London. So this is called as the largest botanical garden in the world. So it is called as largest botanical garden in the world is Royal Botanical Garden. Now we'll go for the second one, Lal Bagh Botanical Garden. So we know that in Bangalore there is a presence of Lal Bagh Botanical Garden. This is considered as largest botanical garden in India. In India, it is the largest botanical garden. Now, when we go for the next one, called as the oldest. So, in the year 1545, the botanical garden was being started. That is called as Orto Botanical Dai and Paddo. This is in Padua, oldest, or it is nothing but world's first botanical garden. So this is called as oldest, or it is called as the first world's botanical garden is Orto Botanical Garden. Now go for the other one called as Indian Botanical Garden. It is also present in Aura. Next, National Botanical Research Institute. This is present in Lucknow. Lloyd Botanical Garden. Lloyd Botanical Garden. This is in Darjeeling. Ooty Botanical Garden. So this Ooty Botanical Garden is present in the Tamil Nadu. So like this, various places the botanical gardens are being present. So here, as the plants and trees are being grown and cultivated, this is used for the research works or taxonomical studies, and this botanical gardens are also used for recreation. So when a person has a lot of mental tensions when he visits the botanical gardens, by seeing the greenery, by seeing the nature, he forgets his worries. So this is also used for the recreations. So we are going for the next one called as biological museums. So biological museum is nothing but we are going to collect, store and preserve the plants and animals as specimens. So here maybe the plant or an animals are being preserved and it is stored, collected, collected and it is used as a exhibition of specimens. So here we know that we are going to take the real specimens. So here we are going to use a word original plant specimens or animal specimens are being taken and it is being preserved. So here I am going to repeat this. Here we are going to take a original material or we are going to take the forms, so the life forms as it is being taken and it is being preserved as a plant specimens or animal specimens for the sake of studies, for the sake of taxonomical studies, for the sake of exhibitions it is being studied. Now we know that in all the colleges and schools we have a museums. So in this museums we are going to collect the bottle specimens. We are going to collect the bottle specimens by seeing the original materials are being placed in this bottle specimens. Now for example, when you take a bottle and this bottle is inside this bottle we are going to take a chemical called as formaldehyde. So formaldehyde solution is being taken. In this formaldehyde we are going to place an animal. We are going to place animal or it is nothing but a plant specimens. It is being taken and it is being preserved in the bottle. So once it is been preserved with the formaldehyde and it is being made sealed, now this material can be used for years together without any decay or without any problem. So it can be used for years together. Like this, it may be a plant specimens or it may be a animal specimens can be taken. For example, many have seen the octopus. So like this, the octopuses can be taken, preserved, frogs, fish, like this. What the specimens required for our studies, that specimens can be stored and it can be kept. For example, when we go for the plant specimens, for example, we take Riccia, Bryophytes, Markantia. So all these bottle specimens can be kept. Or when we go for a cycas leaf twigs can be placed, or cycas male cone and the female cone can be placed. So this is cycas female cone, metasporophyll. Like this, once it is kept, easy to study and it is nothing but easily it can be identified and it is also used for the sake of exhibitions. So like this is called as biological museum. Now this is about the smaller specimens which can be kept in the bottles or it can be kept in a bottle with a formaldehyde. For example, we have seen the snake. Snakes are also can be kept inside the bottles. When we go for a bigger specimens, that bigger specimens are stuffed and kept in the labs. So it is when an animal is dead. So when that dead animal, inside the dead animal, all the flesh is removed out and it is stuffed with a cotton, or it can be stuffed with the fur and it is being stitched off, and that complete specimen can be kept to study. So like this, stuffed animals like a rabbit, or we use the word crow, or we use the word different types of deer. So all that can be stuffed and kept in the labs for the sake of study. So it comes under biological museum. Now we go for different biological museums present. First one is called National Gallery. National Gallery, this is present in London. Mahatma Gandhi National Museum, this is in India. Museum of Science and Industry, this is in Chicago, and the British Museum, London. Like this, various places, there are many museums are there for the collection of stored specimens, but the specimens will be the original, or it is as it is that the specimens are being stored for any number of years for the taxonomical studies or for knowing about an organism. We are going to store this in the college labs or museums and study this. So we'll go for the next one called as zoological paths. So we know that zoological path is nothing but it is a protected area where wildlife is being preserved. Wildlife is being preserved, or wild animals have been protected and it is being preserved, reared for the sake of study or for exhibition or for recreation. For all this, it is being preserved. For example, we see different varieties of lions, monkeys, elephants. All this have been kept as a protected areas where we can go for a trip or we can go for study of a particular animals. So how naturally, how they are really looking, easily it can be identified along with the photograph. But still here, national zoological parks are called zoological parks where there is a presence of wildlife. Wild animals are preserved and it can be known about the particular one. So we'll go for the different zoological parks. First one is Jai Chamarajendra Zoological Park. Jai Chamarajendra Zoological Park or Zoo. This is called as Mysore. It is present in Mysore. Zoological Garden. This is in Kolkata. Gandhi National Park. So Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh. National Zoological Park, New Delhi. Bannerghatta Zoological Park. This is in Bangalore. So like this, wild animals are being preserved here and maintained here, reared here for the exhibitions or for a trip or to know about a particular animals. All this together is called as taxonomical aids. The first one was herbarium, the second one was botanical gardens, third one was biological museums, and fourth one is called as zoological parks. So we'll go for the next study called as Taxonomy Key. So Taxonomy Key, it is nothing but it is a device or it is a key card where it is used for quick and easy identification of an organism or identification of the plants. So here it is a device, I am repeating it is a device used for quick and easy identification of the plants based on the similarities and based on dissimilarities. Based on similarities and dissimilarities, we are going to prepare a key card. By seeing this key card, easily we can identify the plants which it belongs to, either kingdom or families, caste. So easily it can be identified by seeing the key cards. For example, we know that there are thousands varieties of plants are there, all that cannot be remembered. So we may, based on the similarities and dissimilarities, we prepare a card. By seeing that cards, easily we can identify the family, class and genus and species can be identified, and it can be easily collected and it can be easily studied. So such type of key cards comes under taxonomic key. So it is a method of identifying organisms. So it is a easiest quick method of identification of an organism so that it can be easily remembered and easily recalled the characters of a plant. Now, so under taxonomy key, there is one more called as dichotomous key. The word dichotomous key, they are called as single entry identification keys. Single entry identification keys. So here we are going to chart out or we are going to separate the characters. Based on that characters, we are going to make a key card. For that we use the word single entry key cards. So this dichotomous, they consist of needed questions or statements. So here each question or a statement is being used because each character we call it as a statement. Based on that we are going to see there are two words. One is called as couplet and the other one is leg. So the word couplet is nothing but a pair of contrasting statements or questions. So it is nothing but pair of contrasting, either that or this contrasting. We use a word. For example, in the lower classes or in the lower studies, you are studying about a pea plant called as Pisum sativum. In this, there is a contrasting characters called as a tall and short. Same way, here there are two alternatives, characters have been present, so that statements comes under couplet. In each couplet, there is a presence of lead. So, each question or each statement present in a couplet, for that each statement we use the word lead. So, this lead, based on, it provides, the questions provided two choices. The question, each question is called as lead, or each statement is called as lead present in the couplet. That has, the questions provides two choices. So two choices have been present, that is called as lead. One, either it is maybe in the form of a thesis form or it may be in the form of anti-thesis. Like this, there is a couplet and lead. So this completes the first chapter. Now we are going for assignment. So students will go for the second assignment regarding the first chapter. So the first question is, what is binomial nomenclature? So we are going to write what is binomial nomenclature. Next, as I mentioned, very important for the exam, called as rules. So second question is, explain the rules of binomial nomenclature. Next, write Linnaean hierarchy. So it is Linnaean's categories. Linnaean's hierarchy should be written here. Next, write the scientific name of mango and wheat. So, mango scientific name and wheat scientific name should be written here. Next, write the classification of man. So, in this classification of man, you are going to write all the 7 ranks, 7 taxons should be mentioned for the classification of man. Next, who coined the term species? The species coined to be written here. Next, explain ICBN and ICZN. So, this words to be expanded and written in a full form. Next, what is herbarium? So, this herbarium, what is it? You are going to mention here. Next, write the largest herbarium present in the world. Largest herbarium in the world. Next, name the largest botanical garden in India. Next, what is taxonomy key? So that should be written. And next, what is a couplet and what is lead? So write all these questions and submit. Hello students, we have completed the first chapter. So now we are going for overall summary of the first chapter. So as I mentioned, biology. So biology is nothing but life science or it is nothing but natural science. So biology is father. The father of biology is Aristotle, and it has two main branches. Botany deals with the study of plants, and the father of botany is Theophrastus. And zoology. The zoology is a branch of animal, branch of science deals with the study of animals, and the father of zoology is Aristotle. So this is about introduction. I was talking about the characters of living organisms. So all the living organisms, based on the various characters, it is being classified. So but here first I was talking with the characters cell. So all the living organisms should have a cell. Either the cell may be prokaryotic cell or a eukaryotic cell. So I mentioned about the movements. So the movement is nothing but all the living organisms, for the sake of food, for the sake of shelter, or for the sake of one or the other, the movement is present. So animals will move for the search of food, shelter, all that. Whereas plants are holding with a root system, so they cannot move from place to place. But still, the plant parts move towards water, move towards light, or move towards gravity like this. Even there is different types of movements of being present. Now when we go for the next one called as growth. So all the living organisms grow. So that is called as, it is the irreversible increase in size of an organism is called as growth. So there are internal and external growths of being present. The internal growth is called as intersusception in a living, and in a non-living due to external deposition it is called as external depositions is called as accretions. Like this, I have given you various characters: metabolism, functioning of a cell, or we use the word reproduction. It is nothing but formation of young ones, consciousness, adaptations, or finally death. So all these are nothing but the characters of a living organisms. So those who are living, they must and should die. That is called as one. Now we go for the next one called as taxonomy. Taxonomy is nothing but a branch of science. Branch of science deals with identification, description, nomenclature and classification of an organism. That is called as a taxonomy. This should be done in a regular manner. Hence, it is also called as systematics. So, the word taxonomy was given by A.P.D. Cantelo. So, this person has given a word taxonomy. Next. So, taxonomy deals with the naming and classification. As I mentioned, naming and classification. Here, when a plant is studied, it is called as systematic botany. When we study an animal, it is called as systematic zoology. So, any new plant is being identified, it is being based on International Code of Botanical Nomenclature should be sent for the verification. When we go for an animal, it is called as International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. For this, we are going to send for verification. So, this should be remembered. Now, we will go for the next word called as binomial nomenclature. So, the word binomial nomenclature means naming an organism by two names. The first name is a genus name followed by species name. So, here I'll continue with the rules. So, the two names are called as binomial nomenclature. The first one is a genus name followed by species. The first name should always write in a capital letter and species should be written in a small letter and it should be underlined separately. And after the name, you can write the discoverer name. Discoverer name can be written next to that. So, here there are tautonyms are there. The word tautonym is nothing but both the genus and species will be similar, whereas synonyms are nothing but which has this particular organism has many species but many varieties in that the first name is taken into consideration whereas the other one is not taken into consideration. So this is about one. Now I use the word species concept. The word species concept is nothing but the group of organisms which are genetically, morphologically similar, which can interbreed each other to produce a fertile young one is called a species. That species word is given by John Ray. So this is about one. Now we'll go for the next heading called as taxonomical tools, taxonomical aids. Or before this we go for lineageous hierarchy. Taxonomical hierarchy. So in a taxonomical hierarchy or lineageous hierarchy, there are 7 ranks. There are 7 categories. So the first rank is always called as kingdom, followed by division, or followed by division is also called as division in plants, phylum in animals, and it is followed by class, order, family, genus, and species. So all these are nothing but 7 ranks, 7 taxonomical categories present, and this was given by Cornelius Linnaeus, hence it is also called as lineageous hierarchy. Now we'll go for taxonomical aids. Aids is nothing but tools. This is required for identification or it is used for the study of a particular plant or animal that comes under taxonomical tools, and thus the first one is called as herbarium. So it is nothing but the storehouse of preserved plants. Storehouse of preserved plant is called as herbarium, and I have given above in a sheet of paper. It is been pressed and it is been stored in the herbarium. We go for the second one is called as botanical gardens. So it is nothing but it is a protected area where we are going to study about living plants. Living plants are being stored here, so it is usually called as Botanical Garden. Next, called as Biological Museum. So in a biological museum, we know that it is preserved. The original plant material or plant specimen or animal specimen is preserved in a bottle specimen with a formaldehyde. For the college or for the school museums, it is being used for the research work or for the further study it is required. Next we go for Zoological Path. So again this is a protected area where we are going to preserve the wildlife. So the wildlife is preserved, reared for the research work or for the study, for the exhibitions, for the tours. Here zoological parks are being maintained. Now this is about our next one is Taxonomy Key. The key is a device where quick and easy identification of a plant specimens is called as a Taxonomy Key. So in Taxonomy Key there are two words. One is called as couplet. So couplet is nothing but a pair of contrasting characters, pair of contrasting questions is called as a statements is called as couplet. In couplet each statement is usually called as leg. So we have completed about the synopsis. Overall have mentioned about the living world. Students, next we are going for the next chapter called biological classification. Before this, you students collect the neat books from the college and be ready. As we complete the biological classifications, immediately we will start both the living world as well as biological classification neat. So because some of the students have not yet taken the books, so take the neat books and be ready. Immediately we will start the first chapter and second chapter neat questions. Good luck.